Hello, this is Christina Gill from the Rock Valley College Tutoring Center. Today we will be making a lamp to demonstrate the basic elements needed to make any SolidWorks model. The first step to making a part is defining a sketch. This is when a basic outline of the part is drawn and given dimensions. Part of defining a sketch is adding sketch relations. These define how elements of the sketch, such as lines and circles, are linked with one another. Extruded boss is used to add material linearly to the part, making it in 3D, while extruded cut does just the opposite of this and removes material linearly. When material needs to be added circularly, revolved boss uses a cross-section of the part that it rotates about a center. Swept boss also uses a cross-section, but it moves along a fixed path instead of a circle. The corners of a part can be rounded off using the fillet or chamfer features. Fillet uses a radius, while chamfer uses a beveled edge. Offset entities is used when you want to follow along your current sketch a set distance away. Mirroring takes advantage of linear symmetry so that half of the part can be copied to make the other side. Circular pattern takes advantage of circular symmetry to create multiples of the feature about a circle. Hole Wizard is a very useful tool to create all types of holes, including tapered, counterbored, and counterseamed. Once the part is made, the material can be changed to reflect the real-life material that the part is made out of. When all the parts are made, they can be put together in assembly. The parts are connected to each other using assembly mates. The first part of our project is the base of the lamp. The first part of our project is the base of the lamp. Start by creating a new part. It is helpful to show the origin so we can anchor our sketch to it. We need to specify the units we are drawing in. For example, we could use centimeters, but today we will use inches. Next, the drawing plane must be selected from either the front, top, or right planes. In this case, we will choose from the top plane and start to sketch. Use the line tool to make an initial outline of the part. Once we have drawn the outline, hit the F key to fit the sketch to the screen. I have intentionally drawn a very crooked square so that you can see the use of sketch relations. We start selecting a line or an element, then choose the relationship from the Properties menu. In this case, it needs to be horizontal. Repeat this step for the top line as well. Two or more elements can be selected at once by holding down the Control key while selecting the lines. Select both of the vertical lines and give them the vertical relationship. To turn the rectangle into a square, select two adjacent lines and make them equal to each other. Now the sketch can be fully defined by adding the length of one side using Smart Dimension. You will know when a sketch is fully defined because all the elements will turn from blue to black as they become defined. In addition, when a sketch becomes fully defined, it will lose the negative sign in front of the name of the sketch. Once the sketch is fully defined, we are ready to add material using the Extruded Boss feature. We can define how much material is added by changing the extruded length. There are many different options for defining the direction, including midplane, which places the sketch in the middle of the part. We only need the material to be added in one direction, so we will choose blind. Next, we will add fillets to the top edges of the part. All four edges can be selected by simply clicking on the top face of the part. The radius of the fillet must be defined next. In order to see what the fillet will look like, we will use full preview. Partial preview will also give you an idea of the size of the fillet, while no preview will not show any changes to the part until after the fillet is completed. Now we'll add chamfers to the vertical edges of the part. Select each edge individually since they are not all connected at the same plane. In order to select the back edges, we need to rotate the part. This is done by holding down the mouse wheel while moving the mouse. Once all of the edges are selected, the size of the chamfer must be entered. Now we'll create a new sketch on the top surface of the part. This time we will add a circle. In order to fully define a circle, its diameter, vertical location and horizontal location must be defined. The circle is then used by the extruded cut feature to create a hole in the part, which you can see here. To change the material, right-click on the material, then Edit Material. We are going to choose teak wood. Now, not only does the part look like wood, but its internal properties such as density are also that of wood. In order to add counterbore holes, we will use Hole Wizard. You can choose from a variety of standard sizes, but we will define our own size. Pick the basic type, in this case counterbore, from the drop-down menu. The dimensions of the part can then be edited. Be sure to change the end condition to blind before trying to change the depth. Once we have defined the type of hole, we need to define the placement. Select the face for the sketch and click Normal to make it easier to see. Click once for each hole desired, then define their locations like any other circle. Here, sketch relations were added, similar to the initial square used to start the base. The same pattern of holes were added to the opposite sides as well. Now that the base is finished, we're ready to start on the lampshade. Since I've already started drawing the basic outline of the shade, we'll make a sketch next to it in order to understand how a chain of lines and arcs can be created. Start by sketching a basic line, then hover back over the endpoint of the line. Now the line tool is changed to an arc tool. We can repeat this step after drawing an arc as well. Once we are done making arcs, we can continue making line segments in the chain. The fastest way to select many elements at once is to click and hold to make a highlighting box. Now the lines can be deleted by hitting the delete key. Of course, they can be selected and deleted individually as well. We need to add more dimensions to fully define the sketch. Line segments are defined by their length, while arcs are defined by their radius. The Offset Entities tool is used to copy our sketch a set distance away. We hit the reverse button to switch the side to copy to. The thickness is set to 1/1000th of an inch because this shade is a very thin part. The ends of the line need to be connected to create a closed sketch, but right now they look like one line since they are so close together. In order to connect them, we must roll the mouse wheel to zoom in to the ends of the line. When we see the two different lines, we simply draw a line connecting the ends. Repeat this step for the other lines as well. Now that we have an enclosed sketch and a center line at the center of revolution, we use the Revolve feature to sketch the shade in 3D. To make the sketch more realistic, we'll change the material to acrylic. Our part now has the translucent property of acrylic material. We can choose to view the part with outlines on the edges. This gives us a better idea of what the part will look like in real life. Now that the shade is finished, we can make the holder for it. I have already created a ring with a triangular cross section as well as the enclosed sketch for one of the legs. We will use extruded boss to create the leg, but this time we will choose the midplane option. We can mirror another leg on the other side using the mirror feature. Open the feature tree to select the features. The front plane is chosen as the center of the mirror. then the feature to mirror is chosen. To create the other two legs, we will use circular pattern, but first we must draw a center line to define the circle. Now when we use the circular pattern, we can select the center line for the center parameter and both of the legs as features to pattern. Two legs will be created at 90 degrees from the originals. After all the legs are made, we can hide the center line by right-clicking on its sketch and clicking Hide. We have added pegs on the bottom of the legs that will fit into the base. The last part to be made is the handle. I've already made the triangular cross-section on the front plane. The next step is to create the path on the right plane that this cross-section will follow. The path and profile must intersect at one point. I have made this point the origin of the part. We use the 3-point arc tool to create the path. Some construction lines are drawn to make defining the part easier. Using sketch relations, make the end arcs tangent to the horizontal center lines, as well as the arcs tangent to each other. Again, we will define the sketch by dimensioning the height as well as the radii of the 3 arcs. Now that we have fully defined the path and profile, we are ready to use the swept boss feature. Select the triangle as the profile and the arcs as the path. You can see that the profile was projected along the path to create the handle. I have created a simple plate using the extruded boss feature. In order to mirror the second handle, we must insert a reference plane as the center for the mirroring. To define the plane, select the right plane and specify the distance. Now we are ready to mirror the second handle. As you can see, the mirror preview allows you to see if you have selected the wrong feature in mirror. If this is the case, simply delete the wrong feature from the Feature to Mirror box, then select the correct feature. We no longer need to see the reference plane, so we can hide it. I have added pegs to the handles that will fit into the base.